It is Know Your Law with Consolata Chibalonza. Yes, that's how they phrase it, and that is how it is, because it is very true. Today's edition of Know Your Law, we are tackling the draft religious organization bill. Now, this bill came about and was inspired by, of course, we know the case that was ongoing by the Mackenzie, the Shakahola massacre, and that is what dictated or prompted the rise of the draft of the religious organization bill. Now today on our panel we have a member of the clergy who is a pastor, that is Pastor Janet Esther, and we also have Joshua Uya with us, and they will be here to discuss about it. One is a lawyer, an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, and I'm still to know why it is advocate of the High Court of Kenya, why not advocate of the Supreme Court, why not advocate of the magistrate? I don't know, maybe he knows. That yes, he'll be here to tell us the legal side of this law. Is it first of all constitutional? Does it align with the rights to worship? Because we all know that we all have a right to worship, and I think it's a right as a freedom as well. You are free to choose whatever you or whoever you want to worship. But when that right overpowers the right to life, then that becomes an issue or becomes a problem. Hence, the start of the religious organization bill. Now, I am not the speaker today, so allow me to welcome them. We will start with the lady, of course, ladies first. Karibu sana mchungaji.
Thank you.
So give us a brief introduction of yourself.
My name is Pastor Janet Esther. I worship in Gospel Center International Church, which is it's at Faith. And beginning from today, we have Women Blooms Conference. And on 24th of this Saturday, I'll be graduating in the Women Builders. It's good to enroll yourself, to educate yourself, and get more knowledge, because knowledge is power.
Yeah.
So on Saturday, I'll be graduating, and I'm welcoming you all. At the same time, I do take people to work abroad. I do have abroad jobs, and this time we are so blessed as Kenyans because the government has intervened, and government has given a sponsor work visa. So this time, if you have a passport, you have a good conduct, and you have a certificate in college, or you have a certificate in the KCSE, or you have a diploma or a degree, you are qualified to go and work in Germany, because this is free. In other words, that is free. So you keep in touch with me, and you are good to go to work in Germany, because that is it's a government thing. So at the same time, I am a caterer. I'm a businesswoman. So it's good that you work as a minister of God, because the word of God says that He's going to bless the work of our hands. So it's good to work and just work in the vineyard as you continue serving the Most High God.
Wow, thank you.
Yes.
Okay. Jacqueline of all trades, I see.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that, and pre-congratulations on your graduation come Saturday.
Thank you.
All the best.
Thank
And then we go to our Akili. Akili, karibu sana.
Thank you.
Please introduce yourself.
Good evening, viewers. And first of all, before I introduce myself, I think allow me to say congratulations to Pastor. Yes, my name is Achando Joshua Uya, and I'm an advocate of the High Court of Kenya. I believe you are asking why is it advocate of the High Court of Kenya and not advocate of the Supreme Court. I think your answer is as good as mine, that an advocate of the High Court of Kenya, the High Court is primarily the center of practice, and therefore that's why the chronology comes in, the advocate of the High Court of Kenya.
Okay.
Yes. Prior to being an advocate of Kenya, I was an industrial relations officer, and I'm equally a practitioner in labor-related matters, family matters, and civil and criminal matters. So generally, at the moment, I'm a general practitioner.
Wow, hey, nice. All right. Yeah, I'm Chibalonza. I'm a journalist, guys. God bless you. Congratulations on all that you do. So let's just get straight to the point, and maybe I'll start with you, Wakili, because it's a bill and trying to turn it into law. It's the draft or the religious organization bill. I don't even know if I'm saying it right. Maybe you'll correct me. Yes. The draft religious organizations bill 2024. Please just tell us a little bit about it and what it entails.
Yes. First of all, Article 32 of the Kenyan Constitution guarantees the freedom of worship, belief and conscience. This article actually encapsulates 4 thematic areas. One, it forbids anybody from forbidding anyone to actually enter a premise or an entity because he's of a particular religion. Secondly, it guarantees the freedom of worship. You can worship. You can also manifest your religion at whichever place you feel like and how you feel like it. So Article 32 and Article 8. Article 8 actually of the Kenyan Constitution guarantees this Kenya is not a state religion. So basically this is what frames up the freedom of religion and the freedom of worship in this country. If you look at the draft of religious organization bill, you'll realize that it doesn't come from Venus. It doesn't come from anywhere. It comes from some particular place. We had the Societies Act, which actually CAP 108, which actually was the legal framework that was governing and regulating religious institution in this country. Now, this act, the Societies Act Cap 108, is a bill, is a law that has been there for quite a long period of time. I believe it's over 50 years. And it's a law that has been there for quite a long period of time. It doesn't just regulate religious institutions, it regulates other societies, it regulates other welfare organizations, and therefore the more need to have a specific legislation on religious organizations. Now, prior to this, we had the draft regulations to supplement the Societies Act in 2015 by the then Attorney General Githu Muigai. And this draft was meant to just serve and bring in sanity. You remember when we had an issue with the 310, the exploitation that was there. So this was the main cure of it. But in responding to that, and this, the AG then said the need to have these was because one, it was to curb radicalism, it was to curb exploitation, it was to curb extremism, it was to curb aspects of leadership wrangles within religious institutions. So this regulation was actually proposed in 2015 by the then Attorney General. The National Council of Churches in Kenya responded to this by actually emphasizing that there was indeed a legislation, that is the Societies Act, and that there was a guarantee of the freedom of worship within the Constitution. But in line with that, the NCCK and the Evangelical Alliance, which actually brought in another bill, the Draft Association Bill, I think, brought in another aspect. The National Council of Churches proposed other amendments. It says that we needed to have a legislation that clearly focused on religious institutions, and this legislation, they were saying, would have certain aspects, will have a clear legislation away from the Societies Act that will actually look at religious entities within the country. Now, this culminated to also another draft bill by the Attorney General in 2018, and these efforts have gone on and on until we had the Hesabika Trust that brought us the code, religious code of conduct for religious leaders. Now, with these efforts, now with the culmination of what, and I know now we are saying nobody's a visitor in Jerusalem. We know what happened. We know the massacre that took place. I call it a massacre because
it is.
We had over 400 bodies exhumed in Kilifi, which was very, very much unfortunate. So it is this that formed we had the parliamentary team led by Danson Mungatama that had to look into this aspect of Shakahola. And then we have now this presidential task force that has brought us here to have the religious organization draft bill. Yes, that is all about it.
Yeah, that's a good history, and you've really brought us all the way. But maybe I can ask this to the pastor. Now, tell us a little bit about how a church should be running. When we start talking about a church, how should a church, what makes a pastor? How can one be called a pastor? How do we know that this is a pastor and this one is not fit to become a pastor?
Okay, me what I can say, to become a pastor, one thing is to fulfilling a calling. After you fulfill the calling, then one join a theology college. Once you join a theology college, now that is the time you go and learn how to run the church.
Okay, let me just take it from there. Now that you've mentioned about the going to the college part, kuna how pastors who go on saying that they've been called by the Lord. They have been chosen by the Lord. The Lord has instructed them to do 1, 2, 3. So they do not see the need of going to college. How would you address that?
Okay, what I can say is that knowledge is power.
Okay. Yeah.
And such kind of people, they're supposed to, one thing, they for them to run the ministry, they need to have at least the idea of the Bible, what is written in the Bible. Because, you know, the word of God says that my people perish because of lack of knowledge.
Yeah.
And despite even if they know the Bible, one thing they need to know is to have the confidence, to have the confidence what they've been taught in school.
Yeah.
So I will encourage those people who don't want to go to school. It's a high time for them to go and grasp what people are being taught. Because even right now, we thank God because there are so many organizations. Like this one is called the School of Christ. That one is a sponsorship school. And you find that they charge at a very reasonable price. You know, like for you to go for diploma, it takes an intensive period for you to learn, and it's a sacrificial period.
Yeah.
Like Monday to Friday, you're in class from 8 to 5, and it's for 1 month, and then you pay at a reasonable price, like 5K. That is reasonable. So me, myself, I encourage them to join such kind of school, which is in Car West. They can go there, learn in that school, and at least they can get that diploma, and in the long run, it will help them. It will help them to come to the full knowledge of God, because they will have the assurance of salvation.
Amen.
Once they go through training. They will know who God is, and at least they will serve that God in truth and in spirit. Yeah.
Thank you very much. Now, perhaps I should mention this. When it comes to giving is a huge part of the Christianity foundations, or if I should call it stronghold. Christians are encouraged to give each and every Sunday, or during each and every meeting, because according to the faith, it is what God requires of us. But then again, if you look at, as Wakili had mentioned, we had the issue of the 310 coming up. So how can you advise me as a congregant, or as a viewer, or somebody who's just seated at home and hates Christianity for the giving, that giving is good, and when you see this and this, you're being extorted. When you see this and this is fake. This is not from God. This is not of God. But this is of God.
Okay, what I can say, offering and donations are allowed. That's where church get its revenue. I can say that I can say when it comes to that, I mean, you just see the reality. You just see the reality, and the reality is that you find like there's some giving
that are not biblical,
which is like exploiting the members. So you as an individual is just to when you are giving, just give for an offering to the church. And if you're giving, give your tithe, give your thanksgiving, give your thanksgiving and welfare money, and give to support the church, maybe the building. And giving is wide in the proper way. That those I'm saying it's in a proper way. Like in church we have like the widows. You can give to support the widows.
Of course.
You can give to support the orphans.
Of course.
And even you can give to support the poor. Those are among the people in church. You see. So when it comes to giving, that is a biblical giving. And another giving, it's not right. Like you that is exploitation giving. You know, like the kind of you exploit people like the Kanyari people.
You give for miracles.
Yes, that one. You stay away from such kind of giving. You see, you stay away from such kind of giving because it's not biblical. So you give in the right way. Give your offering, give your tithe, support the church, support the widows, the orphans, and the elderly and the poor, and even the church construction. Beyond that, it's I mean now that is on your own. That is on your own. So that's how it is.
Thank you very much. Wakili, maybe to you. Okay,
sorry. I was actually going to interject on that because, you know, one Karl Marx once said I think it's normally it is very rhetorical. So many people have talked about it when it comes to giving. People normally say that religion is the opium of people's minds. Sometimes when you are told this, you just do, and you will do it unquestionable. And so many people have really taken advantage of it. And if you look at the president when he was actually receiving this tax force report by Mtava Musinga, the president actually mentioned one thing at the inception of his speech. He said that Article 32 is there, yes, but with freedom comes responsibility.
How responsible are we with the freedoms that we have?
That we have been given.
How can we say that yes, there is freedom of religion, yet I'll be exploited, just like you have mentioned with the 310 issue, and there are others. We have had people surrender assets to religious leaders, masqueraders purporting to be religious leaders. So this is the premise. If you look at this bill, it has the parameters of a body that has been created. It's called the Religious Affairs Commission. If you look at one of the mandates of this Religious Affairs Commission is to actually oversee the religious leaders and how they conduct themselves. And one of it is to ensure there is no economic exploitation of the members of that church. It is a bill that is actually going to see that if a religious leader is actually exploiting on the members, then that comes in to be an offense, a religious offense under that religious organization bill. So once that bill comes into law, then we'll have certain offenses that were not there in the previous act, in the previous Societies Act, that will now be of benefit to the society at large, and will ensure that the public is not actually misled and is not actually exploited when it comes to their economic and their hard-earned assets or values or income. So that is one of the most peculiar aspects
of this draft religious organization bill, because this bill is different from the other Societies Act. It didn't have this aspect of religious offenses. It only had certain offenses, such as, it was a wider, it captured a wide spectrum of organizations. So it didn't focus so much on certain conducts within the religious entities. And that's why it is important that if this bill it is important that this bill should pass, so that we have such kind of religious offenses that you can actually bring to account those who are given these mandate, these freedoms to exercise them. You can bring to account a religious leader who has been given the freedom to maybe get tithe from the members, but this tithing, maybe he's obtaining it in a more exploitative manner.
Yes.
Yes.
So I was to ask, maybe perhaps, when we talk about still on the issue of giving, which is a very sensitive point, I understand we might dwell there for quite some time. According to the bill that I was reading, it was saying that any monies or any form of givings that are given in church must be taxed again, or must be there's a certain percentage. They didn't say which exactly, but they were talking about taxing it, or having the revenue collected and the report given to the government and all that. My question would be, isn't there a form of strategy or a form of principles to be followed when you're taxing something or when you're taxing someone? For example, if I say 16% VAT, we all know what VAT is, value added tax. We know it is taxed on this, it is taxed on this, this can be taxed. We know what 1.5 house levy percent, whatever that is. We know all this, but when you say we just want to tax the church, is it possible to tax it, or the religious organization, is it possible to tax it without a working frame around it?
Yes, one of the key things that I normally ask myself when it comes to this debate of taxing religious organization is this a new thing? Okay, if you look at the Societies Act, at the tail end of some period, you have to file some returns. Okay, and this is what this bill actually proposes, that at the end of a particular period, a religious organization has to file returns. The aspect of taxing now does not really come in the, taxing is more of a finance aspect, which should be reflected in a different bill rather than in this bill. Taxing is more of a revenue collection modality, which comes in with these other pieces of legislation, like the one we had, the revenue raising legislation, such as the finance bill and the rest. So if you look at societies, what the bill presupposes is that any religious organization must actually, towards the tail end, do what is called filing of returns. Now, what has been placed in the absence of filing of a return is, if you fail to file a return, then there is a penalty to that effect. So that we cannot have religious organizations and religious entities who actually operate, but that towards the tail end of the day are not accountable through the filing of returns. It is the returns that will also show the type of income and assets that the organizations have. Okay,
nice. I realized you wanted to say something.
Okay, what I can say, the church exists here on earth where there are rules and laws to govern the men. The church is a social institution that exists in a society of many religions. The Mosaic law was given not as a spiritual standard of living, but a legal instrument to curb the excess of men who are bent on evil. That is in Exodus 32:22.
Nice.
The Mutava Task Force is an instrument done by men to curb these excesses. The regulations do not deter a true believer from evangelizing or praying or worshiping. Freedom of religious expression is still enshrined in our Bill of Rights and cannot be affected by the Mutava regulations. Having said that, these regulations are man-made laws structured to tame a spiritual organization with different belief system it will be very difficult to point out this crime. And the crime, because Satan comes as an angel of light to confuse even the saints. It will be hard to legislate convictions, because when people decide to go to Shakahola to die, which law can they defy? The remedy is for the true believers to return to biblical principles and live the word and become the salt of the earth. A genuine demonstration of God's power, not the unusual entertainments of making people fall down and crawl like snakes, shouting. It will make a clear distinction between the true church and the false apostles and prophets. This will be marked by practical holiness and righteousness amongst the believers. Yes, that is it.
Okay, that is well put. That is well put. I think that is a message. I think that is a message worth listening to, especially when we have this discussion of whether it is okay or it is not okay. It is okay to support it if at all it is not against the beliefs. Maybe back to you, Wakili. What I would ask is, is it going to work? Will it be successful? Do you think it will curb down the rates of irregularities that we're witnessing, especially in the Christian sector? And I'm talking the Christian sector because it is the religion we mostly associate with. We have most of these pastors who are not true. That is in regards to the Bible, which is the only test that we can measure them with. When they do things that we're like, no, this is a fake pastor, when they ask for this money, they still have people who believe them, they still have people who follow them, they still have people who love them. Will this help curb that down? Or is this just a slap on the wrist?
I think the biggest, again, I'll supplement your question with another question, which will not be the case. That why did it not work in the previous act? Okay? You look at, how we fund our accountability systems is always a question. Okay? You look at the societies, the register of societies. How many societies does he have to regulate? Okay? If you look at the last time the AG Apia Muturi appeared in the National Assembly, they actually reported that there are over 100,000 societies. Okay? And out of 100,000, 40,000 are religious organizations. Now, how is it possible to actually, if you do not have theological background and if you are not conversant with matters religion, how is it possible to actually curb out offenses of this nature?
Well, let me ask a stupid question, or maybe a very daft question.
Yes.
What if it is the Holy Spirit? Because now you cannot tell me the government can prove the presence or the absence of the Holy Spirit.
Yes.
One might argue like that.
And that's why we have the Religious Affairs Commission. One of the key mandates, it sets the parameters under which one can even register a religious entity. And one of it is you must have a proof of a theological certificate from a theological institution. Okay? So if it is a calling to that regard, I believe at some point that calling has to be cemented by some background of knowledge.
Yeah, which you Pastor said.
Yes. So this background of knowledge, and Pastor will tell us that actually it is the holy book that will always tell us that my people suffer for lack of
knowledge.
So where do you obtain this knowledge? So this is one of the aspects that can actually reduce. If you look at this bill, if the Religious Affairs Commission will say, yes, you have that spirit, but please go back and seek some theological knowledge from a theological school, then to that very regard, it is going to work. Now, secondly, you're saying, how will it reduce these kind of offenses? Remember, initially, we had a registrar who was looking after over 100 societies. But now we have a registrar who will actually be focusing on
the 40,000.
on 40,000 religious entities. Okay? And his or her preoccupation will basically be on these religious entities. Look at this Religion Affairs, the Affairs Commission, basically set up for looking into the affairs of religious entities. Secondly, the reason why this thing will work, in the previous previous law, we didn't have religious offenses. We didn't have the offenses of religious extremism. We didn't have the offense of religious exploitation. We didn't have the offense of religious institutions engaging in political activities. We didn't have, so there is other new aspects that have been brought about by this law, this proposed law. If it passes, then definitely it will serve to carve out masqueraders who are purporting to be religious leaders. And these will indeed enhance and strengthen the level of accountability of our religious leaders and our religious institutions. So to me, I see with the new elements in this new bill, that is introducing the offenses and introducing also the parameters at which one can register as a religious entity, and also into how these religious organizations are going to be conducted. Remember, I mentioned to you the Hisabika Trust work, the good conduct kind of document. So these documents will not just be left there per se. So I believe that this proposed legislation will work to curb out and reduce religion extremism. Yes.
All right. To you, Percy, if I may ask, when we have people or congregants who follow a pastor who's misleading them and they do not know what to do because some of them maybe were brought up in such a church. For instance, if you were brought up in a church believing that 310 is the way to heaven, you are a child, you saw 310, you grew up, your mother taught you 310, now you're an adult, what you're teaching your children is 310. How do you disengage yourself? How do you disconnect yourself from such a belief system?
Okay, me, I can say that pastors and ministers must study, and although this should come from the body that regulates the church, it's unfortunate we have to be told that by government, and not entirely, but it will help. Okay, not entirely, but it will help a lot. We have so many pastors who have no idea what they are talking about, and there is something education adds to a minister, and it's helpful. So when you find such a person comes from such a structure, when you find such person comes to such kind of a structure, is to educate them the right way. The right way to go, so that once you educate them, they can have the way forward, because they have the will. They have the will to choose. And once they have the will to choose, you will help them to choose the right way. To choose the right way. And we have got so many ways of growing up to the full knowledge of God. There's discipleship class. There's discipleship class, and we have that discipleship class is for the new believer. So that person will you will encourage them to join that class, so that they can have the assurance of knowing God. Once they have the assurance of knowing God, they will know they will know the truth. And the truth will set them free. Because they will know that, hey, the other way I knew, it's not the right way now I'm knowing. So they should connect themselves with the right believing church. Where they worship God in truth and in spirit. And once they connect themselves with the right believing church, their eyes will be opened. And they will be able to do the right thing. And once somebody does the right thing, they'll be free from being manipulated in their giving. So once somebody knows the truth and they go to a right believing church where they'll be taught discipleship is very important. At least that way they will get the full assurance of salvation, and they will come to know who God is, the true God, the one we serve him in truth and in spirit, Jesus Christ.
Okay.
Yes.
I again look at this law. Okay. If you look at keenly this law, it's actually a call to self-regulation by the different umbrella bodies. If you look at one of the parameters that has actually been set for you to actually register a religious organization, there has to be proof of affiliation to an umbrella body. Okay, you know the umbrella bodies that we have in this country. I believe National Council of Churches is one of them. I believe the Evangelical Alliance is another one. And we also have others. Like I know for the African Independent Churches, they have maybe theirs.
Yeah,
okay.
Of course, yeah.
So if you look at this bill, to me, keenly, it's a call for self-regulation. Look at the composition, for instance, of the Religious Affairs Commission. Okay? Yes, the Attorney General is there.
Yeah.
Yes, we have the chair and the other person appointed by the president. But most of the members of this commission will come from the various religious sectors that are there. So if you look at this proposed bill, it is a plus for the religious organization because it calls more to a self-regulation than to what was there before. What was there before was purely a state regulation.
Yeah.
The Registrar of Society was not a member of any religious entity. Okay, so and this one, I believe the religious organization will have much say into how regulation should be happening through the umbrella bodies.
Because it is them, it is for them, by them, to them.
Yes, so that if you have a rotten egg amongst you, you are able to point out in a very good way. And I believe that has been what religious leaders have been requesting for, that let us be allowed to be the ones who actually pick the rotten eggs from the better ones, so that we can have a proper framework whereby the state does not actually, remember Article 8 of the Kenyan Constitution, whereby we are saying Kenya is not a state religion, whereby we are saying that the religion and entities and the state are complete true separate entities, so that these religious entities can be able to actually call out one of them and call out each other to sanity. Because if you look at the background of this bill with a keen eye, you'll realize that it is just a call to sanity. It is a call to sanity. It is a call to actually streamline operations of the religious organizations. Yes.
If I may ask, when you talk about maybe this might not be part of what you're talking about, but when you say that Kenya is not a religious state, why is God included in our national anthem?
God is included, yes, in our national anthem. And the reason why we are saying it's not a religious state, for instance, we have states that are governed by Sharia law.
Okay.
Okay.
No, I get
whereby religion is an order of the day.
Yeah.
If you look at our country, we normally say we are a secular country because we accommodate actually every form of denomination, every form of religion. But if you look at other countries, there are countries that you cannot go with your own.
Religion.
They are governed by the law of that very religion. I think most of them are Arabic countries, whereby we have Sharia law that actually dictates this how you'll put on, this how you drive, this how you do whatever thing. If you look at this country, in as much as we have God in our national anthem, yes, but we are a secular country. Yes.
Awesome. And maybe my final question to you this night would be, it is called the draft religious organizations bill 2024. When do you think it's going to become a law, and what's the process that we're looking at for it to develop into a law? Because we obviously know that a bill is a law's caterpillar. Like before, the law is the butterfly and the bill is the caterpillar. So what's the process? What are we looking at?
And this I take it off from the day of launching. I think now the ball goes to the public participation forums. whereby people and other religious organizations will begin giving in their input. Already I saw somebody on the media when one of the proposals is that all religious organizations will have to register fresh.
Yes.
And already there are people who are saying no, some scrupulous people will take advantage of this kind of scenario. So first of all, I know we are going to have a public participation on this bill. Then from there, I know it will be subjected to the various readings within the House and the debates within the National Assembly. And then from there, we'll have it assented to by the President. But it is a long stretch. So I know currently what will happen first is that we'll have it subjected to the people for public participation so that other proposals can also be imputed or other things can actually be removed from the bill. Then it will go to the National Assembly for first reading, second reading, and then we'll have the presidential assent. Up to the time it will be assented to by the President. That's when it will become a law. Yes.
How long do you think this will take?
Looking at, we have had these attempts.
Yeah.
Just like I told you, we had the Evangelical Alliance proposed draft. And then we had the 2018 proposed bill by the Attorney General. So where did these bills go to? They never saw light of day. So I believe and I think this time there is goodwill from all stakeholders. Okay. There is goodwill from the religious organizations themselves. They have seen the need to actually have this law and to actually have this bill. There is the will from the state, and I know we have the National Assembly will lay its emphasis, the Danson Mungatana team that actually walked all over in the Shakahola thing, and we saw it brought in all the religious leaders, giving them putting them to task on the various theological issues that exist within their different sects. So I believe we look at a time frame of next year.
Next year.
Yes.
Awesome. All right, Percy, maybe the last question I'll ask you tonight is, what would your advice be to those who are watching you right now and they're feeling they do not know what to make of this organization bill? And as Wakili had said earlier, 90% of the people who have a belief system or who are in a religion tend to follow the voice of the shepherd.
Okay, what I can say that going forward, let the President implement the task force report, and it is the best man can do to tame crime in religious organization. In any case, it is the same government which registers him. True. So I can say in all this, let the government do their work. Its job, it will help the church, at least from these false pastors and false the prophets. Those false people. So I can say that these are spiritual issues on wickedness, law which will not stop them. They can be stopped spiritually. They can also go a long way in fulfilling scripture on evil in the last days. And however they can be tamed if the church of Jesus Christ arises to its spiritual mandate. That is in 2 Timothy chapter 3 and Ephesians chapter 6 verse 12.
Thank you very much. I think this has just opened a whole Pandora's box of many more questions, and we have no time for them today, but I think we'll do part 2 of the same, and we'll be continuing with the discussions. Maybe I'll just allow you to give your parting shot, your word of goodbyes, maybe salamu hapa na pale as we close it down.
I can advise you that go to school as a minister of God and get the knowledge. And once you get the knowledge, it will set you free, because ignorance is very expensive. And I can advise you that get knowledge. Knowledge is power. And about abroad work, abroad jobs that I'm giving people through the government. We thank God for the government intervening and giving Kenyans a chance to work in Germany. We thank God.
Yeah.
Because this is a sponsorship work visa in Germany by the government, so you don't have to pay anything. It's free of charge, so long you have all the papers. So my number is 0706 862 755. Keep in touch, and God bless you. And I thank God for this privilege that there is light. There is light in the end of the tunnel. And the light, the gospel has to be preached. And once the gospel is preached to the uttermost, then we are preparing for the coming of Jesus. So the best thing is to draw nearer to God, and God will draw nearer to you.
Yeah.
Because life is fragile. We should handle it with prayer. So as children of God, God loves us, and we are the light, and we are the salt of the world. So let us embrace the light of God and the love of God, which is in John 3:16. And that light and the love of God, it will set you free. So I bless you all. I give warm greetings to my friends at Gospel Center International Church. I invite everyone on Saturday 24th that it's going to be my graduation. It's good to empower yourself with more knowledge. So come, the graduation will start in the morning at 8 and it will go on until evening. So God bless you all, and have a blessed week.
Thank you.
Yes.
Thank you very much. Yes, Wakili.
Yes.
Tuage.
Thank you. I believe being an advocate, I think I will go with the maxim that equity actually aids the vigilant and not the indolent. Let's keep vigil. You know, the reason why we had Shakahola was because we were not vigilant. And we wouldn't have gone to that extreme of over 400 bodies.
Yeah.
So I believe let's keep vigil. Let us keep vigil against religion extremism. Let us keep vigil against exploitation, religious exploitation. Let us keep vigil against radicalization, against terrorism. Okay, so that all these atrocities that are associated with religious exploitation. So let us keep vigil against all this, and I believe we shall be a better society. And going forward, I pray that all the stakeholders play their role so that we have this bill into law. We will benefit a lot. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much for your time. It has been an amazing session. I hope you got to grasp a thing or two about the draft religious organizations bill. My name is Consolata Chibalonza. Thank you very much. Pastor Janet, thank you very much. Wakili, for everything, for sharing with us your words of wisdom. I wish you all nothing but the best, a very good night. And as I always say, Consolata Chibalonza, until next time, God bless.